G'day guys, Tom and Wade here from Different Drop to talk about one of our favourite releases on the wine calendar every year. Wade, what do we got?
It's the new Vanguardist wines from 2021. This should be very good. Looking forward to them.
So Vanguardist, one of our favourite winemakers, very popular winemaker in Australia, Michael Corbett, or MJC as he's known in the industry. Michael's a Kiwi, he grew up in the Hawke's Bay area. He's done some 25 to 30 vintages all around the world. New Zealand, Australia, obviously, the USA, France. And my understanding of the background is he got talking with a couple of mates in New Zealand, Alexandra McCarthy and Edward Morissette Latour, about a joint venture of Michael making the wines here in Australia and making some really modern, innovative styles, really aimed at some of the best restaurants in the world. And Ali and Edouard importing and distributing these wines around the world. And that sort of started the Vanguardist label in about 2013, 2014, I think.
Yeah, we tried some of those early wines because there was a Riesling, there was a Clare Valley Riesling, a really great Adelaide Hills Chardonnay back then as well. That vineyard unfortunately burnt down, so there's no Chardonnay, no Riesling anymore. But the thing that he sort of really fell in love with was like sort of this little patch of Blewett Springs in McLaren Vale. So.
Yeah, so Blewett Springs, for those unaware, higher altitude part of McLaren Vale, sandy soils, best known for Grenache and also fantastic Mataro. And what we're looking at in this release is a straight Grenache, a straight Mataro, and this Rosé, which is actually a blend of the two varieties.
Yeah. So you've got two different blocks, but they're pretty close together in the sort of really sandy part of Blewett Springs. It's sort of like, I guess it's becoming like the sort of dress circle in Australia for sort of top-end Grenache now in that part of the world. And he's got himself an absolute belter of a vineyard in there as well, which is great.
Yeah, so the Rende vineyard there, which he's been working with for a while, and then that supplies the Grenache for this wine, which makes up about 2/3 of the blend. And then the rest is Mataro off the Yangara vineyard. So both of these sites organic and biodynamically certified.
Yep.
And very hands-off farming and winemaking. These are all picked on the same day in early March, I believe, in 2022. And co-fermented, a whole bunch pressed into a mixture of some stainless steel, some concrete egg, and some other vessel. I don't know what Michael's playing with, but anyway, it's a mix of vessels all providing different kind of characters and textures to the wine, and then left alone for 4 or 5 months before bottling.
Yeah, so this is, like, he's made a couple of other rosés, I think, but this is the first time he's bottled this under this V label, which is sort of his premium tier. And really what he's going for is kind of is big burly man, big beard, very delicate rosé.
He's a surprisingly delicate fella,
yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
He looks like he's a bit of a rock star or a bikie.
Or a Viking.
Or a Viking.
Yeah.
But he's a lovely bloke and lovely family too. Really softly spoken guy.
Yeah.
Great winemaker.
Gentle touch in winemaking too. Yeah. So yeah. But this is beautiful, eh?
Pretty serious growing up rosé.
Yeah.
Like you can see, very pale, light colour. Not so much extraction there, but structure. Like it's quite grippy, almost chalky, acidic, long. Definitely a rosé for food. A rosé that probably aged really, really beautifully. I think,
like,
and quite complex.
It's kind of like, you know, those better examples in the south of France where they've got a bit more structure and a bit more detail to them, and you really seem to fill out in bottle over a couple of years. So I think that will definitely do that. But at the moment, the aromatics on it is so pretty. It's so perfect.
Yeah. And I think that's just going to unwind and I reckon actually cellar really beautifully. I would love to see that in not necessarily 10, 15 years, but 3 or 4 years time. I think that'll look really, really great. And definitely one of the more sort of serious Aussie rosés on the market, I think. So good start. All right. Now, let's get on to the main show.
Yeah.
This is what we love about Vanguardist. This is what everyone gets excited for every year. And it's quite simply one of Australia's finest Grenache.
Yeah. So we've been buying this since the first vintage of the Rende block. So that was 2015. And what we saw in that first line is just sort of the delicacy and the prettiness that he gets in Grenache. So picking it like absolutely bang on, where it's like ripe enough so it's got plenty of flavour, but it's so soft and delicate and perfumed at the same time.
What he does is he picks this across several different dates. So I think as early as sort of mid-February, which is quite early for this part of the world, and you're getting really lifted, high-toned aromatics and acidity from that. And then picks it in several more occasions all the way up until mid-April, so 2 months later, which gives it its power, some extra tannin development and body.
God damn, that's good.
2021 vintage too, cooler vintage. I tend to really love those cool years for the warm regions because you just get this extra perfume and prettiness to the wines.
Definitely. I was talking to him sort of a couple of weeks ago about the release, and he's pretty convinced that this is the best wine he's made so far, and I don't think he's wrong. I think that's absolutely magic. It's so silky. There's an amazing core of fruit to it as well. So it's just like, it's got so much power, but it's kind of like coiled up at the same time. Epic wine.
You know a term I really hate? Pinosity.
Yes.
Right? This like idea, it just like kind of has this Pinot feel to it or whatever. This has Grenacheosity. Grenosity.
Yeah. In spades.
Grenacheity.
It's got Grenache written all over it.
It's just like got this really silky femininity to it. Like this mouth perfume, this just really just gorgeous flow, elegance, but then this latent power that's sitting behind it as well. So it looks really pretty, delicate, and then it just comes at you.
The tannin on it is absolutely bang on as well, because it's so fine and silky, yet it has like kind of a chalky kind of structure to it. But man, that looks so good right now. Yeah,
amazing one.
Epic.
Amazing one. Yeah, in the top 3 or 4 Australian Grenache, I think.
Yeah,
and for me, stylistically, in the top 1 or 2, because there are some other heralded Aussie Grenache that are maybe fuller bodied and more powerful, and definitely long lived. This will age gracefully, but it is also absolutely beautiful to drink right now, and has this freshness and vitality to it. That's, I think, a real hallmark of Michael's winemaking. Just goes into one food drop, I think. This just sits there.
Yeah.
Very simple, unfined, unfiltered. Very little ads.
It's only about 400 dozen made.
Yeah.
So there's not much to go around.
No, just great fruit. Clever vineyard management. The different pick dates, I think, is a big part of this, with getting that real balance of aroma and structure.
And I know how obsessed he is with this block as well. Like, he treats this vineyard like his baby now. And so he's constantly in there working on it, pruning it. It's like manicured, so
amazing wine.
You can see it in the fruit too. It's spectacular.
Yeah, one of the country's best Grenache. And then a few hundred metres down the road is another small little producer you might have heard of, Yangara, in their incredible organic BD vineyard. And Michael works with Pete and the crew at Yangara, and takes a bit of Mataro from them every year, because Fraser doesn't know what to do with Mataro. No, I was there. He had all this old Mataro sitting in the winery. He's like, "You want to buy a pallet of old Mataro?" So anyway,
no, I'm good, mate.
No, thanks. No, Mataro's the best though. So he gives it to Michael, and the man knows how to make great Mataro.
Yeah, because like Yangara used to do it a straight one. They used to do the Mourvedre, and now they just blend it away. But yeah, looking at this wine, you'd think you'd want to have another crack at making a straight one, eh?
Yeah, it's interesting. It still looks like Blewett Springs. Like Mataro from the Barossa will tend to look a bit blacker, and blue fruits and purple fruits and that sort of spectrum. This to me still feels quite red fruited almost. Yep. It still has this thumbprint of the region on it, but just a little bit more kind of brooding and menacing. Yeah,
there's a bit more. Mataro always has that slightly kind of meaty sort of edge to it, a little bit more kind of, I don't know, a brambly sort of spice character. But that is actually quite pretty. And like that Blewett Springs blue fruited sort of thing, I think, comes through in it as well.
That's why I called it Blewett Springs, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was after Greg Blewett.
Oh, that would be better.
Good cover drive.
99 on debut, I reckon.
Oh,
Pretty cool.
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's going back a while, showing my age. Great wine. A little bit more of like an upfront plushness to it than the Grenache, I think. Just like a bit plump in the palate, and maybe not quite the same. Turn your phone off, Tom. Maybe not quite the same kind of length and this kind of tannin rope that just pulls it along as the Grenache.
Yeah.
But it's got, you know, shoulders and personality and weight.
but it's such a good drink right now. Like, I think sometimes, because you can get some quite hard Mataro that looks a bit sort of rough and ready when it's young. But the sort of through line of all of Michael's wines is they just have this lovely softness and elegance about them. For a big sort of bawdy dude, it's kind of hilarious. But yeah, the wine's magic.
Delicate and elegant, but full of personality.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's Michael. So good on you, MJC. Great release, mate.
Nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. Rosé, one of the more serious rosés around. And I'd put the Mataro right up there as well as one of the better single varietal Mataros. But
100%.
seriously, this is what it's all about. Grenache 2021, one of our favourite Australian wines, you know, hands down, any variety, and very limited and definitely one for the cellar. So, guys, check it out and support Vanguardist. If you're in the Clare Valley, him and wife Claire have a little cellar door up there, I believe you can go and visit. Great fella, great family, definitely deserve your support. So get amongst the Vanguardist.
Yep. Who gets to take the Grenache home?
Obviously home. Yeah, give the rosé.
Okay. Thanks.